If you just zoom out for a minute and say, okay, these companies are staying private longer, right? Sarbanes-Oxley and all these things made it more difficult to go public. The amount of demand for capital in these private companies is just going to keep growing and growing. And there's so much money in crypto. How can crypto update capital formation just like it's updated every other part of the financial services area? So there's a big investment that we're making in how to update how to update capital formation and make it easier for private companies to raise money, but we want to do it with the permission of those companies.
Ultimately, do you want to compete with Larry? Do you guys think that you're competing with each other? Because you've talked about broadening your offerings far beyond crypto.
No, I don't think so. In fact, we're a great partner of theirs on their ETF.
Right.
We're powering, I think, more than 80% of the ETFs for crypto in terms of custody and trading. And as there's an effort to tokenize their funds, Coinbase is well positioned to be the leader in just tokenization of every asset. I mean, we've done that with stablecoins. You can look at it happening now in various parts of the world with stocks. It should be happening with every fund. And what we want to do is actually market their products to our customers, the $500 billion of assets that you mentioned for retail and institutional. We want to put those products in front of our customers.
If it is found that survivors were actually killed while clinging on to that boat, should Secretary Hegseth, Admiral Bradley, or others be punished?
I think you're going to find that this is war, that these people were killing our people by the millions, actually, if you look over a few years. I think last year we lost close to 300,000 people were killed. That's not mentioning all the families. Have you seen what happens with the families of not only the people killed, the people that are trying to get their son or their daughter off of this poison that they've been fed? I think you're going to find that there's a very receptive ear to doing exactly what they're doing, taking out those boats. And very soon we're going to start doing it on land too, because we know every route, we know every house, we know where they manufacture this crap, we know where they put it all together. And I think you're going to see it very soon on land also. Yeah, please.
So to be clear, you support the decision to kill survivors after the
No, I support the decision to knock out the boats. And whoever's piloting those boats, most of them are gone. But whoever are piloting those boats, they're guilty of trying to kill people in our country. Yeah, please.
Drone dominance is a billion-dollar program funded by President Trump's big, beautiful bill. It is purpose-built on the pillars of the War Department's new acquisition philosophy, a stable demand signal to expand the U.S. drone industrial base by leveraging private capital paired with flexible contracting built for commercial companies founded by our best engineers and entrepreneurs. Drone dominance will do two things: drive costs down and capabilities up. We will deliver tens of thousands of small drones to our force in 2026 and hundreds of thousands of them by 2027. I will soon be meeting with the military services to discuss transformational changes in warfighting doctrine. We need to outfit our combat units with unmanned systems at scale. We cannot wait. The funding provided by the Big Beautiful Bill is ready to be used to mount an effective sprint to build combat power. At the Department of War, we're adopting new technologies with a fight tonight philosophy, so that our warfighters have the cutting-edge tools they need to prevail.
One of the big themes this weekend is going to be Arsenal of Freedom, because the Pentagon is looking to do just that, overhaul the procurement process. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's long overdue, and I applaud the department for finally getting this document out. They did it in a pretty timely manner, all things considered. Last night the National Security Strategy came out, and what it continues to say is that the threats facing the U.S. and our allies are increasing. So the entire defense ecosystem has to really get on a wartime footing. And I think this transformation at the Department of War is a big step in the right direction. It's very similar to what we did at L3 Harris about 2 years ago. We've started to transform ourselves, focusing on AI, focusing on affordability, accountability, innovation, and speed. So there's perfect alignment. I particularly like the focus on the DOW and industry jointly investing to increase capacity. I believe capacity in and of itself is a deterrent. And the last piece will be the multi-year contracts. And I look forward to the DOW starting to award multi-year contracts so that we can have long-term agreements with our supply chain and really empower the defense industrial base to support the warfighter. So exciting times.
Right now we're in the deserts of Southern California at Mojave Air and Spaceport, checking out Northrop Grumman's newest aircraft. This is Project Talon. It's an autonomous wingman. And as you can see, there's no pilot, no cockpit, though it can fly alongside crewed aircraft. It can fight and fly all on its own, and its specifications are impressive, but probably the most impressive part of this aircraft is its price tag. This is what Northrop Grumman calls affordable mass. It can be produced for about the fifth of a cost of a traditional fighter aircraft. Now, this comes as many aerospace corporations here in the United States are also developing other autonomous fighters, and also we're facing competition from our adversaries like China, which are also developing autonomous fighter aircraft. But this aircraft in particular, Project Talon, has been developed very quickly. Northrop Grumman has been working on this for about 15 months now. It hasn't flown just yet, but they are looking to get it up in the air within the next 9 months.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And you know I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And listening to Brian Armstrong. Remember, crypto was supposed to get rid of the banks. That was a whole narrative in 2008, cutting out the middleman. But instead, the banks were behind Bitcoin and crypto from the beginning. Genius, but evil genius. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have Trump's war on drugs. And I've told you time and time again, the game is over. Because everything's going to be tokenized and put on blockchain. Nothing physical. And of course, when you're actually buying this poison, you need what, guys? You need cash. And don't forget that was a narrative around crypto. It was for criminals and drug dealers. We know no one is doing that on blockchain. And moving into this new digital economy, privacy is the new gold. And in crypto, you could do a whole lot of things anonymous, and they cut that out quick. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And now we have Hedge Seth talking about drone dominance. Remember, guys, how old drones are. It's not for the military any longer. Even though you hear him speaking, that's for the sheep. And we know they test all this technology in the military and then roll it out to the masses. And now they're ready to roll these drones out to everyone. And these drones are going to put a lot of people out of work. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And in 2026, we're going to hear these drums get louder. But now, they no longer need soldiers. They no longer need manned aircraft. These drums are going to be autonomous. And of course, these drums are going to be cyber. And we see in the fourth industrial revolution, all the language has changed. It's like I stated, we use the word adversary now, like when a Marvel movie. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to put a show on up in the sky. And if you don't have a relationship with the Most High, you're definitely going to be deceived. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And not only is the drums getting beaten, but they also have the drums beaten on the First Amendment. And I brought this to you a long time ago. We clearly heard it from the World Economic Forum what the agenda was. And what's going on in Europe is going to eventually make its way here in America. But they're going to do it behind the scenes with all this technology. All they need is the bots. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we're hearing more and more fraud from each state. We know a lot of this is money laundering. But then also, guys, how do you stop the fraud? That's right, blockchain. You use negative news in the media, and you come in with that solution. Problem, reaction, solution. It works every single time. We know who are really causing all this fraud. When it comes to the average citizen, they're not even going to allow you to get away with any big fraud. Anytime we've seen hundreds of millions or billions of fraud happening, we saw the powers that be knew that it was going on. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And then we have the Fed Jerome in the building next week. And we have Rick Reader saying that they probably should cut and get to that 3%. As soon as they get to that 3%, guys, we know they are stuck because we have inflation that's not going anywhere. Remember, Jerome Powell stated we're not getting to that 2% until 2028. He already admitted it, but he knows, like we know, the sheep could care less. They have no clue who Jerome Powell is or who the Fed is. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Yes, I think as a general rule, you can tell which side is the good side and which side is the bad side by which side wishes to restrict freedom of speech. The side that is restricting freedom of speech, that would have been sort of the Hitler, Stalin, Mussolinis of the world. They had very strong censorship, very strong restrictions on speech.
I acquired X in order to preserve freedom of speech in America, the First Amendment. And I'm going to stick to that. And if that means making less money, so be it.
That European put in place to regulate the technology sector. This one became live in August 2023. And this probe was launched close to 2 years ago in December 2023. And really what the European Commission was looking at was sort of in the build-up to some European parliamentary elections, whether there was disinformation that was being spread across Twitter, now X. What this fine actually assessed, 120 million euros, the penalty actually relates to not necessarily the disinformation. That part of the probe is still pending, but the regulators made 3 findings. One was sort of the design of X, basically that any user can pay for a blue check mark now, and calling that verified, they said that's deceptive because it's not really verification when anybody can pay for it. The other 2 findings related to, one, there was no ads repository on X. That's mandatory to allow researchers to really see what kind of ads are going across the network. And the third finding related to just not giving adequate access to third-party researchers on X. So this is a fairly significant penalty against X based on sort of the revenue that the platform makes. But the findings really didn't quite go to the heart of that sort of potential disinformation campaign, and that is potentially still waiting.
Fraud investigators are finding in Minnesota is growing by the day. Kelly Loeffler, who leads the Small Business Administration, says in the 2 days her agency has been investigating the state, they've uncovered at least $1 million in PPP fraud just 2 days in. Several of the whistleblowers in Minnesota have also told lawmakers they believe the total amount of fraud could total up to more than $8 billion. Governor Tim Walz, who is up for re-election, is under fire for all of this happening under his watch. But he says they have paused these programs. They've brought in outside auditors to get an idea of how far-reaching this fraud was. They're taking steps to keep it from happening again. And he's defending his management of the state while also taking shots at Republicans and the president.
And in spite of the headwinds we're up against, Minnesota ranks economically, economic growth, happiness, number of people insured, education levels, near the very top. So I'll tell you what, I have no interest in having this state look like Oklahoma or Mississippi. And if folks are going to commit crimes here, thinking because our generous spirit and our programs that we have is going to give them some kind of cover, they are sadly mistaken.
Yeah, Minnesota is also now home to the single largest pandemic fraud scheme in the country. And Republicans argue that Walz and other Democrats opened the door to this.
I think that it's a pretty clear, you got to get that funds rate closer to 3%, if not at 3%. And so I think you've got enough data to do that, and you don't have enough data that suggests that inflation, certainly over the intermediate term, is accelerating. So I don't have any issue with them either. I mean, I think they can move closer to 3% sooner. So, and I think you got enough data to allow you to do that.
All right. So you think it's a lock, and it doesn't really matter. They might as well cut now if they're going to cut.
By the way,
yeah.
By the way, I don't think it's a lock. I actually think when you look at, we're going to probably have some dissents. You probably have a disagreement. I think it should be a lock. Listen, I think the fact that we haven't heard anything otherwise, that they're probably going to go. But I definitely don't think it's 100% that they're going to go.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Crypto Teacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books, It's Time to Re-Educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.